Is it a bad thing to have red hair? Could you have stopped yourself from having red hair? No, of course not. Accept who you are and rejoice in the fact. Enjoy your life and live it, and ignore the ignorant bigots. This is just a word to a guy who wrote to me a little while back. You know who you are. Being bisexual doesn't mean that you have to deny anything. If you find that special someone and fall in love with them and remain monogamous, regardless of their gender, it's no different to you falling in love with a blonde guy but still fancying that Mediterranean hunk across the room. It doesn't mean you'd automatically cheat on your lover just to sleep with someone else who catches your eye. My point is that being faithful or not has nothing to do with sexuality and everything to do with personality. Another point you raised, of course bisexuality is not disordered, whatever the hell that means. Just because bisexuals may fancy both sexes, it doesn't make them any less faithful to a partner that they truly love. It's just like saying that just because a heterosexual man is married to a blonde woman but also fancies dark-haired women, that he must go off and sleep with a brunette to feel satisfied. Sexuality has no relevance to whether someone is going to be monogamous or not. Bisexuality is not an identity that someone arrives at lightly. At the same time, it doesn't mean that they have to sleep with someone of either sex to know. That goes for all sexuality. We all usually know sometime around puberty which other people around us make our hearts beat a little faster. One of the problems that all of us non-heterosexuals have is that we're not raised in communities of similar people who can reinforce and support our identity. For someone who's gay or lesbian, they can seek out that reinforcement by joining gay groups or visiting gay clubs and pubs. Bisexuals may also visit these places, but are not always accepted so readily. Unfortunately, there are those among us who, although they have come to terms with their own sexuality, then find it hard to see past that. I've heard bitchy comments in clubs such as, "Ooh, don't go near him, he can't decide if he's Arthur or Martha." Or, "Yes, he's nice looking, but he says he's bisexual, you can't trust them. He's probably only after a blowjob. Once he's got his rocks off, he'll just as likely smack you in the mouth and leave you lying in the gutter." With this sort of attitude, it can be much harder for bisexuals to A, find a partner that they like who likes them back, and B, be able to tell that partner, or rather be able to tell that partner that they're also attracted to both sexes. And as we're all somewhere along the sexual continuum with 100% gay at one end and 100% straight at the other, there are probably more bisexuals around in the middle than anyone knows. If, for instance, a bisexual man is largely attracted to women, but could just as easily have fallen for a man, once he's committed to a woman, he may keep his other side secret, maybe for his whole life. For a bisexual woman, because of the still largely homophobic society we live in, it may be easier for her to marry a man and try to deny her same-sex attractions. It doesn't always work. I personally have a friend who was, he thought, happily married for 27 years, and they raised 3 beautiful daughters between them. One day my friend came home to find a note on the table from his wife which said that although she still loved him, it was no longer enough, and that she'd moved in with her also married best friend who had just kicked her husband out the week before. They had obviously had it planned beforehand, and I think they could have done things much differently, but the point remains that once we've reached a conclusion about our sexuality, there's nothing much we can do to alter it to fit in with the majority. I believe that for bisexuals, as for the rest of it, it's not just someone's face and plumbing that attracts us. There's also a large part of the attraction due to both social and emotional feelings about the other person. It's not just about how someone looks, but the way they make us feel when we're in their company. For example, years ago I went to Gay Olympia in London. It was like a trades fair for gay businesses, but was fun to visit, and it had shows on a central stage all through the day that included dancers, singers and comedians. One of the stalls was for Zipper magazine, and they had one of their top gorgeous models wandering amongst the punters in just a tiny pair of green Speedos. He approached me with a fistful of photos of himself and a pen. He said condescendingly, "I suppose you'd love a photo of me too. Would you like me to sign it for you?" And I said, "No thanks, I don't want your photo, give it to someone else." He looked taken aback and said, "Why, what's wrong with me?" And then bitched back, "You'll never have anything this good." I leaned in and confided, "It's not always about what's on the outside." My partner at the time laughed out loud, and the model looked at us like something he'd just trodden in, and then flounced off in his flip-flops to find someone else to massage his ego. But I digress. My point is that if you are bisexual, you are no more or less a valuable member of this silly race we call human. As I said at the beginning, ignore the bigots, be they straight or gay, and accept and enjoy your own sexual identity. If you haven't done so already, I hope you find a loving and understanding partner that ticks all your boxes. And don't worry if their name is either Arthur or Martha. Bye for now.